As the General President talked about in some detail, the IAFF has partnered with Advanced Recovery Systems to provide IAFF members with specialized treatment for everyday stressors that trigger PTS, behavioral health disorders, and substance abuse. The IAFF Center of Excellence for Behavioral Health Treatment and Recovery is a one-of-a-kind treatment facility for IAFF members and IAFF members only who are struggling with addiction, PTSD, or other related behavioral health challenges to receive the help they need to take the first steps towards recovery. It is a safe haven for members to talk with other members who have faced or overcome similar challenges. The center is located in Upper Marlboro, Maryland, just outside of Washington, D.C. To ensure that the center has the best of the best in providing care for IAFF members, Dr. Abby Morris was selected to serve as the medical director. A graduate of Georgetown University School of Medicine, Dr. Morris is responsible for all inpatient care training and future planning, and for developing a continuum of care that will allow each client throughout their stay at the center and when they return home and back to the job. Prior to her appointment to the IAFF Center of Excellence, Dr. Morris was the medical director of a 24-bed inpatient facility that treated addiction and behavioral health disorders. Before Dr. Morris speaks, I'd like to provide greater insight into the center. Please turn your attention to the screens.
At the IAFF Center of Excellence, firefighters feel comfortable talking about what they've been through because they know that other people are going to get it. It's not going to frighten anybody. It's not going to upset anybody to hear what they have to say. We're all firefighter. Everything firefighter. Our kitchen looks like a firefighter kitchen. Our station houses look like a firefighter station house.
Getting to the Center for Excellence, besides being a great facility itself, the setting, I was met with a handshake or a hug and a "you're in the right place, brother," which it was a completely different experience from the last place I had been to. Within days, I'm telling my life story to people that I just met.
Once I got there, the amount of love and compassion that they shared with me and pulled me in, everybody welcomes you as you arrive.
To hear another firefighter say, I had the same thing, and they felt like they were the only ones ever, especially as a firefighter, to do that.
No matter where they were from, I could relate to them and they could relate to me. And we could talk about our experiences, and it was a great help to my treatment.
It does so much more than I can offer with any medicine.
Hearing other people's stories and kind of everyone working out their issues together, kind of that firefighter roundtable stuff that we do in the firehouse anyways. Another big thing I liked was the wellness center and the athletics there, because I'd found that I'd actually stopped working out. I'd stopped doing anything kind of physical while I was going through my issues. So getting back into the gym, playing the volleyball, the basketball, or doing runs on the nature trails and around the facilities up and down the hills. It was really great while I was there.
As time goes on, you start fitting into their program and you realize that it's taken its place in your life and it's working.
The staff there was totally dedicated to me getting better. I mean, they all generally cared.
It is not just a job for me, it is service, and who better to serve than firefighters. This is a place where we care for you. Body, soul, mind, we care for you. And being in recovery myself, I identify with the folks, and I remember the transformations that happened to me in my inpatient facilities. And so I try to be a part of that. You've taken care of so many other people, maybe it's time to take care of yourself a little bit.
Nobody should ever suffer in silence. The Center of Excellence gave me my life back. I'm happy again. I can be with my family again. I want to live life again.
For me, it was life-changing, but much more than myself, my family benefited more than anything that I would have imagined.
The things I learned while I was there has absolutely saved my life.
Good morning. I'm going to lower this so I can see you a little better, maybe even see me. I'm going to try to speak slowly. I'm from Philadelphia. We talk fast. And when I'm nervous, I talk super fast. Thank you so much, again, for the honor of speaking to you once more. Personally, I found this talk very difficult to prepare for. I was asked to give you all an update on the Center of Excellence 2.5 years after opening. That's a long time for me. I can't believe it's been that long. But I was asked to give you a little bit of information about that. But for me, even telling firefighters what we do at the center, what makes us different or special, is extremely difficult. I'm going to start with simple facts. So I'm going to find the clicker. So let's talk about statistics. Number of people we've touched. So we've had, this was as of August 12th. So I believe we may actually have gotten over or around 900, but as of August 12th, when I pulled the slides together, 870 people. And for me, I have personally worked with all 870, and it has been such an honor. We have actually had, I'm going to go back a little bit, we've actually had patients from all 50 states, from Washington, D.C., and from Canada, but we have not had patients from Puerto Rico or other U.S. territories. So number of patients, number of firefighters with addiction as a primary diagnosis, 413. So that's just under half. So the center has two programs part of it. We have addiction and we have mental health, and we also have, of course, co-occurring. But about half, or just under half, have a primary diagnosis of addiction. Number of firefighters with addiction as one of their diagnoses. So they may come in for mental health, but also have a secondary diagnosis of addiction. So all told, around 65% have some sort of addiction as part of their diagnosis. The most popular drugs of choice, we say in my business, for our patients include alcohol, probably not a surprise if anyone was here last night, and probably if we see you again tonight, cocaine, opiates, and marijuana. However, I will tell you, we're seeing more and more methamphetamine and kratom. People coming in for the need to be detoxing off of those. Most of our firefighters may not get a diagnosis of stimulant or testosterone dependence, but the majority are overprescribed Adderall, Vyvanse, and yes, testosterone by their doctors. It's our fault. And our patients will adamantly rationalize the need for these, despite the side effects such as insomnia, irritability, aggression, and anxiety. So the number of firefighters with mental health, a mental health diagnosis as a primary diagnosis, 488, so just over half, that makes sense. Number of firefighters with PTSD as a primary diagnosis. So I'm pointing this out, 286, because it's not everyone. Sometimes people have the misconception that you have to have PTSD to come to the Center of Excellence, and that's not true. So I will say, I'm going to go to there. Upon admission, 65% of the patients who walk onto our campus do meet criteria for PTSD, and that's a big number. But the more important number is the number who have that diagnosis, who still meet the criteria when they walk off of our campus, and that's 7%. So I thought that was fairly significant. Interesting statistic for me. I wanted to point this out. The number of firefighters with social anxiety as just one of their diagnoses. There were a few that had it as a primary diagnosis, but really as one of their diagnoses. Oh, I didn't have the number. There it is, 192. So 22%, and I believe that's a low number because of reporting issues and to actually meet the criteria, 22%. And the reason I think that's important, I'm going to come back to the statistic on the bottom, is that my experience, I think 90% of the firefighters who are walking to my office, but at least half have social anxiety. And I believe that the social anxiety predates the decision to become a firefighter. I think people who become firefighters need structure, they need protocol, instant acceptance, clear hierarchy, and an identity where it's very easy to gain respect without an explanation. Often, you all have had difficult childhoods or are seeking respect and validation. And so I think that goes back to that. 68% of patients report that they probably would not have sought treatment if they could not attend a treatment setting that was exclusively for firefighters. And I think that that social anxiety presents an important barrier for treatment that we must be able to recognize. It's an important issue. I think having a location that's familiar to people,
who have social anxiety makes it more likely for people to seek that treatment. And I think having treatment facilitators, or having clinicians and doctors who can recognize that social anxiety, makes it an easier environment for an introvert to seek treatment and be an introvert in treatment. Okay. Move forward. So this is important. Number of firefighters with suicidal thoughts upon admission. We do screen for that. It's almost 400. So half of all of our admitted patients to the date when I made these slides had suicidal ideation on admission, suicidal thoughts. This number can't be ignored. We've talked about this. I heard Harold talk about this. I mean, this number cannot be ignored. We're losing too many people. I asked this question the last time I spoke, and I'm going to ask it again. I'm going to ask you to turn the lights up for me here in the room if you can. How many people in this room have, if you can raise your hand, have lost somebody that they know to suicide? I mean, please take a look around. I mean, if I had like that portable microphone, I mean, I should just drop it right here and walk off the stage. I mean, that says it all right there. Thank you. And I'm going to move on anyway. So how are we doing at the center? The average length of stay, I don't think we have it there, is 31 days. Here are some important facts. 91% of people, after they leave, we follow people, and we ask certain questions because we want to know how we're doing. We want that feedback. 91% of patients describe the care at the Center of Excellence, the COE is a Center of Excellence, as being very helpful or mostly helpful. So that's a good statistic for me. That's something that I'm very proud of. About 2/3 of patients report that their decision to seek treatment has had a positive impact on how they're viewed in their departments. A lot of people worry, what are the people going to think about me when I go home if I went to seek mental health treatment? So that's a huge number. 61% said people thought it was good that I went to seek treatment, and about 1/3 said it really didn't have much impact at all. But very few said people hated me when I went home, or people disliked me when I went home, or people didn't think that I made a good decision. So that was a good statistic for me. Upon admission, 31% described their marriage or the relationships they were in as good or mostly good. That's a pretty low number. That's only 1/3. But 78, 1 month after leaving, were now saying their relationships were good or mostly good. So that's a really positive impact that I think we have. I'm going to move away from statistics a little bit because what all these statistics and numbers can't possibly tell you, honestly, from my perspective, is the unbelievable magic that happens when firefighters stop trying to save the world for about 31 days and start to invest in themselves. Some firefighters come to the center when their job is at risk. Some come when their marriage is at risk. Some come when they get into legal trouble. Others arrive when they decide that if they don't come, they may end their lives. No matter why they come, if they want the help, what they find is a chaotically peaceful, loving, safe place to be flawed, to be raw, to be emotional, and to be broken. What I've learned is as much as you all hate the word hero, you hate the word broken much, much more. But you feel shattered, splintered by your responsibilities, trashed by your traumas, and you'll do just about anything not to appear broken. I get it. I'm a doctor. I want to look perfect too. Firefighters and doctors have a lot in common, particularly that. However, the problem is not in looking broken, in feeling broken, or even in being broken. Being shattered by the wrecking balls that swing your way is really pretty normal. Should anyone expect to hit a rock with a sledgehammer repeatedly and not expect that rock to break? The problem is in the perspective about what it means not to be whole. So in my belief, what we do at the center is to reframe that notion of broken. So bear with me. I'm going to do it. There, it finally showed up. I'm going to show you broken. You see this picture, right? That bowl is definitely broken. If this was your bowl, what would you do with it? You'd throw it out, right? You can't use it. It's seen as useless. There's really no way you could mend that without being able to tell it was broken. No matter what you would do with this bowl, it would never be the same. We live in the Western world. We live in a culture that has a very different perspective than in the Eastern culture. In Asia, in Japan, when something is broken, they sometimes practice the art of kintsugi. Kintsugi is often called the art of precious scars. Give a kintsugi artist this bowl, the same broken bowl, and they'll see the pieces, but they won't see something ugly or worthless or useless. They'll see an object that, as part of the natural life cycle, has withstood a personal tempest. In order to fix the item, they'll mix the glue with gold or platinum or silver, and they'll put the pieces back together in a way that celebrates the story of that item, a story that includes whatever has broken it. This is what the results look like. Is this bowl any less broken? It's not. But is this bowl useless? No. Is it any less worthwhile? It's not. Is this bowl not more worthwhile because of the investment and time and effort put into fixing it, and because it is now worth its weight in the gold infused in it? Would you not prefer this bowl to the one it was before it was broken? Really think about that. Think about what that bowl looked like before it shattered. Does it not have more character, more soul, more authenticity, because it's been through more and has more to say? So I ask you, can you not be shattered and beautiful, useful, and worthwhile? So I had a patient just last Wednesday. I added this at the end because it happened just last week. A firefighter who had been in an explosion that took the life of his friends asked me, with tears literally welling in his eyes, he asked me if I could fix his PTSD. He was very dubious. He said, I don't think you can fix me, can you? And I took him to be asking me if he could be cured. And I showed him the picture of the kintsugi bowl, and I asked him if the bowl was fixed. And he looked at it, and he agreed. Well, yes, the artist fixed the bowl. And I told him that, like the bowl, he could be fixed, but that I couldn't ever really make him unbroken. And that's what I think we strive for at the center. We don't convince you that you're well, or we don't help you forget who you are or what you do. We do kintsugi on you stunningly broken men and women with such amazing scars. One more analogy. I like analogies. Anyone who knows me knows that. Any of my patients will tell you I use them probably a little too much. One more perspective on what we do at the Center of Excellence, because I hope it kind of helps to maybe figure things out a little bit more. One of my patients came to me after he had completed the program. We thanked each other. I thanked him for trusting me with his brain, with his story, and with a month of his life. And he thanked me. He said, Dr. Abby, you find us injured and broken and lying in the battlefield, waiting and wanting to die. You pull us back to life. You give us tools to live and hope. You are our RIT team. He was surprised to hear that I was unaware of what he meant by me and the center being his RIT team. So I researched RIT teams. I really like the analogy. At the center, we're the skilled professionals who are ready to respond in the event of a mayday. We're the ones on the outside, ready to rescue firefighters who are in distress. I've thought often of that description and of his words, and they really mean the world to me. So I hope I've achieved what I set out for today. I hope you all have a better understanding of what we've done and who we are. And if I haven't done that job, I invite you to talk to the alumni. Find somebody, and they're out here. And the alumni, I encourage you, if you feel up to it, to tell other people what your experience has been like to have some kintsugi get done on you. And talk to each other about your experiences, because I think that that will be the best explanation more than any analogy that I can give. My last slide is my contact information. Please feel free. You can reach out to me by email, my cell phone. You can text or call. Feel free to reach out if you have questions, concerns, or if there's a Mayday and you think I can help. Thanks so much again. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your patience. And enjoy Nashville.